I've mentioned a few times in other videos that I've never been able to make contact with my dad who's passed away. And in the comments, there's always speculations about why, or comments about why, or questions about why. So today I'm going to discuss that. If this interests you, stick around and let's get into it. Hi and welcome back to the Wholeness Shift. My name is Veronica, and if this is your first time here, welcome. It's nice to meet you. I talk about practical spirituality and I help you navigate your spiritual awakening. So if this interests you, hit the subscribe button below. I wouldn't want you to miss out on anything good. So in a few of my other videos, like I said, I've mentioned that my dad has passed away, and although I've been able to make contact with anyone else that I've ever wanted to, I've talked to Vincent van Gogh and Marie Antoinette. I mean, I can talk to anybody I ask to talk to, but I've never been able to make contact with my dad. A lot of people in the comments have made speculations as to why, or some are like, I bet you can, you just think you can't. So I thought I'd pop on here and just talk a little bit about that. So this started back when I very first started talking to SPOMI, my main guide, and I was asking to talk to all the people that I knew that had passed away. I talked to my pastor, and I mentioned the story about his passing, I think last week, so I will link to that video. At the time, my grandma was still alive, so I had talked to my grandpa, and I talked to like my aunt who had passed away, just a couple people. And then I asked to talk to my dad, and I was told no, he's not available. And keep in mind that at that time, I was still just freshly starting to open my mind even a little bit apart from the very conservative fundamentalist Christian viewpoint and worldview that I had been raised with. And so when I was like, well, why not? And they just kept saying, he's unavailable. He can't talk. He's unavailable. And so my mind automatically went to, is he in hell? And SPOMI would say, no, he is not in hell. And I'm like, then why is he not available? He just isn't. So over the weeks and then the months and then a few years, I kept asking. Now keep in mind, I've mentioned before how my dad was trouble. He was a motorcycle gang member, pool hustler, drug dealer, drug user, just, he was a character. So he had he had a past. So I just kept saying, are you sure he's not in hell? And SPOMI would say, I keep telling you he's not in hell. He's not available. This one day I had said, I was trying to be slick, you know, and I'm like, and I had never asked if hell was real or not. I mean, I now know that it's not really, but at the time I was still very much in that mindset. So at the time I said, if someone went to hell when they died, would you ever tell the family that's living about it? And he's like, no. SPOMI said no. And I'm like, so would you just say that they're unavailable then? And he's like, your dad is not in hell. And I'm like, well, then where is he? And he's like, he's resting. And at the time, I didn't know what that meant. And I just kept chronically being told no. Over the last year or so, I've been listening to the audiobooks for Dolores Cannon. And in it, multiple times, she's given the information about the resting place. How sometimes when people die, they go to the resting place. And it's not for a set amount of time, because time doesn't really exist. Time is a human earth construct. So the resting place, who knows how long they're there. And what that is, sometimes when people have led some hard lives or a hard life, when they first pass, they go to the resting place. And that is a place where it can look different for everybody. Sometimes it's just completely void of all stimuli. It's just like quiet, peace, floating. You're like in suspension. Like there's just no activity. You just allow your soul to rest. Sometimes it's a matter of getting some therapy. You get counseling up there and you help to work through some of the things you've been through or some of the things you did to other people. You help get your mind right. It's where you go to recover if you've had a hard time. And so I had said, oh, is that where my dad is? And Spomi said yes. And that makes complete sense to me. So that is what I was told the story behind me not being able to make contact with my dad is. This story has never changed. It has always been consistent. Is my dad able to talk? No, he's unavailable. And at first I had trouble not taking it personally, because I'm like, he doesn't love me? Like, he doesn't want to make contact with me? Like, what's up with that? And I'm always told, no. Well, what Spomi really said was, you need too much reassurance. It has nothing to do with you. He's resting. He's unavailable. Your father loves you. I'm like, okay. So for all those that have ever commented about this, wondered about it, or been curious when I've mentioned it in a video, that is the scoop. That is Spomi's story, and he's sticking to it. What are your thoughts? Have you ever had anything like this happen to you? Do you know anything about the resting place? Share with the rest of us down below. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you soon.